Let's all gather around. First off, welcome to Grandma Ray's 90th birthday. You don't look a day over 62, but it's your 90th birthday nonetheless, and we're so excited to be here. First off, I want to thank all of the Cohen girls for putting this together. This was amazing. I don't know how you guys did it. Second, I also want to say that everything that I'm saying is from Auntie Jackie, so thank you, Auntie Jackie, for writing my script. Everything that I'm saying is from her mouth. Nothing is from me, so if you have any issues, you can go see her after this. So this is the first time we got together since Hanukkah, which is crazy. I heard that you're giving out Hanukkah checks again to all the grandkids, so I'll pass those around after. And the next time that we're going to see each other is Claude's bar mitzvah. Hell yeah. That's going to be fun. We've all been to birthday celebrations, and it's pretty common for people to show photos and videos of milestone moments in a birthday person's life. In thinking about Grandma, we thought about how we could describe her: beautiful, elegant, fashionable. So we put together this amazing fashion show where your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren are going to be wearing dresses and clothing of yours. Grandma, the one thing that I have to say is you breed women who are strong, intelligent, bright, independent, and you had 4 amazing daughters, then 7 incredible granddaughters, and then Eddie came, that's me, and you, Eddie, ruined the purity and the beauty of this family. Auntie Jackie, seriously? I ruined that? Okay. But really, the women in this family are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait for you to see all of them and everything that's going to go on here tonight. So, before we get started, we have to give you a little bit of history on Grandma Ray. Rachel Misri was born in Brooklyn, New York. During the Great Depression, she was the 3rd child and 3rd daughter of Matilda and Grandpa Jack Misri. Shout out to the 3rd daughters, Jackie, Erica, and Allison. Her father, Grandpa Jack, had to find a way to make a living for his family. So they traveled to various cities in the Northeast to see where they could make it. After a lot of different stops, they ended up in Providence, Rhode Island. And that is where they settled long term. Capital city of Rhode Island is correct. She often told her daughters that growing up she had one dress in her closet. We will find out today that that wasn't true. Although hardly a modern woman, Grandma Matilda worked side by side with Grandpa Jack in his stores so that they could make ends meet. Grandma Ray and her sisters helped take care of her younger siblings, Sonny, Leon, and Muriel. And when she was in high school, Grandma even worked as a waitress to earn extra money for her family. Okay. Auntie Annette, Auntie B, and Grandma Ray were real beauties in Providence. They had a ton of boyfriends, heyo, went out on a lot of dates, heyo, and were famous in the Jewish community of Providence. And now it is time for our first model, Sarah Jaeger. Grandma was lucky enough to convince her parents to go away to school to Syracuse University. There, Ray studied nutrition, foreshadowing one of her talents, her amazing cooking. And look at Sarah Jaeger. Grandma was well on her way from graduating from Syracuse. Can you turn that off because it's very distracting? No? Okay. Grandma was well on her way of graduating from Syracuse, and then Hashem interfered with her plan. She was working in Grandpa Jack's store one summer, and a young married man from Brooklyn, Syrian community, came in to sell goods. It was Uncle Ralph Cohen. He was smitten with Grandma and set her up with his older brother Ezra. Grandpa Ezra drove all the way from Brooklyn to meet Grandma, and they hit it off right away. So much so, which is a fun fact, Grandpa tried to neck with her on their first date. But of course, Grandma did not allow that. I wish you gave that advice to some of your granddaughters, but okay. Fast forward, Grandma and Grandpa were engaged 6 weeks later and married in 3 months. On March 30th, 1952, their daughters came soon afterwards. Barbara on March 27th, 1953, Marilyn on April 23rd, 1956, Jackie on March 11th, 1959, and baby Susie on November 15th, 1961. Having 4 daughters and some money in the bank, cha-ching, gave Grandma a chance to indulge in her passion of fashion. Her trips back and forth to Lester's were legendary. My aunts remember being in Lester's when the store was still closing and the lights were going off, and Grandma was making them try on clothes. They also remember spending hours at the dressmaker, Miss Bumgarden, who lived next door to Auntie B, while Grandma altered everything to make it fit to her beautiful figure. No wonder all my aunts hate going to get their clothes fixed now. To pick up with the story, Ray and Ezra are living in Brooklyn, New York, that beautiful city, raising 4 beautiful daughters, while Ezra is founding and establishing his wholesale tablecloth company, Sunweave Linen. Even though they were very business, they still seemed to go out a lot, and often they had Tina take pictures of them all dressed up and ready to go. Our next model, fittingly, is the eldest grandchild and director of basement plays and the original regime leader, Melanie Kuehl. Andrew, calm down. Melanie is wearing a Kelly Green ensemble that we think dates back to the 1960s. Look at Melanie strut her stuff. Oh yeah. Now we move on to the youngest grandchild, Rachel Irani, wearing a groovy purple dress that Grandma rocked in the 1970s. Oh yeah. Oh, go. Next up is someone near and dear to my heart, my beautiful wife Karen, wearing a dress that Grandma may have worn to Cousin Marlene's wedding. Note the Kelly Green theme, everyone. Fun fact, it's our 11-year anniversary today, and Grandma was the only one in the whole family that wished us a happy birthday. Happy anniversary. The only one. Go Grandma. During the 1970s, in addition to all of her pursuits, Grandma Ray took up tennis as a hobby. She started off playing at Kings Highway Tennis, where all the men had a crush on her. Crazy. And continued playing with her friends in the community, many of whom were much younger than her, as well as her daughters and all of us. Here we have Allison Sultan, modeling Grandma as a tennis player. Allison, this way. Fun fact, Allison Sultan is a Ezra Cohen Invitational winner from 2006, partnering with Ike Massery. Allison did all the work there, but okay. Life starts to get really interesting for Ray and Ezra during the 70s. It became very clear that Barbara was going to marry Gary, whom she met in Midwood High School in 1969. And for the first time, there is another male at the Shabbat dinner table, and Grandma has to cook a lot more food. Here we have Linda wearing the dress that Grandma wore on June 9th, 1974 at Barbara and Gary's wedding. Look how beautiful. Gorgeous. Go Linda, go Linda, go.
What a beautiful dress.
Beautiful, beautiful dress.
Beautiful girl.
Barbara and Gary moved to Evanston, Illinois right after the wedding so Gary could go to grad school at Northwestern. That was an emotional time for everyone. I remember it clearly. Marilyn and Cookie's wedding followed 4 months later on October 27th, 1974. Even though Marilyn was just 18 and a half at the time and Cookie was the son of Grandma's cousin, that explains a lot. Okay. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. During the next few years, Grandma re-enrolled in college to get her degree and went to school while she took care of her family. The girls used to laugh at her when her friends came over to study, but they were really very proud of her. In May 1976, Grandma finally completed the degree that she had started at Syracuse. Here we have Marilyn Massery reenacting her graduation, which was such a proud day for her family. Yeah, Marilyn. Oh, yeah. Natural model. Ooh. Instead of nutrition, Grandma's college degree was in communications and broadcasting, and graduating college was not the end of the line. Grandma went on to work for WYNC Television, where she founded and anchored her own show, 31 News Magazine. Rachel Marcus is next up, showing us what Grandma looked like in her professional role. Oh man. That must have led to a lot of lawsuits in 2020. Come on. Oh yeah, Rachel.
It's all yours.
Being a superwoman was no easy task. In addition to working at WNYC, Jack Hilton International, Caesar's Bay Bazaar ran her household, entertaining all of us in Deal during the summer and on Friday nights in Brooklyn. It wasn't easy doing all that, and sometimes Grandma just had to let her hair down and put on her robe and slippers. Here is her oldest daughter, Barbara, demonstrating that all that work and beauty doesn't come easily. Clap if you've seen Grandma in this outfit before.
You really do.
Grandma, that's funny, Grandma.
Jackie and Jeff's wedding followed on June 17th, 1979. By that time, Ray and Ezra had Melanie, no, not Ray and Ezra, Barbara and Gary had Melanie, their first grandchild. Oh, it is Ray and Ezra had their first grandchild, Melanie. And Linda was on the way. Here we have Rachel Pardo wearing the dress that Grandma wore to Jackie and Jeff's wedding. What a smile by Albert Pardo on the sidelines. What a smile by Albert Pardo. That's relationship goals. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Chucky, another cousin, which explains a lot, became a part of our family in June 6, 1981, and Ray and Ezra's nuclear family was finally complete, 5 men and 5 women. Fortunately, there were a lot more babies to come. Over the next 10 years, it seemed like Ray and Ezra went to a lot of parties, and Grandma was always decked out. We don't know the exact years of these occasions, but here is just a sampling. Erica Koisum, show us what you got. Wow, look at that dress. Joey, Grandma could have closed a lot of deals in that dress, no? No, Joey K? Gorgeous. Gloria Irani, wawawiwa, get over here. Wow, Gloria, you look beautiful. I could only imagine what Grandma would look like in that dress. Grandma, if Donald Trump saw you in that dress, he would grab... Come on, Auntie Jackie. If Donald Trump saw you in that dress, his orange face would be even oranger. There you go, I kept it PG and kept it political. Michelle. Wow, look at this one. Michelle. Damn. That's a sick dress. Adam, you should take her out tonight. In 1987, the kids made Grandma and Grandpa a 35th anniversary party at Lamar Catering Hall. Grandma, do you remember that?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay. On Ocean Parkway. At the time, Michelle was the youngest child and I was still in utero. I never knew that I was in utero, but apparently I was. Jackie is modeling the dress that Grandma wore to that party. Wow, that's a stunner. Nice. Beautiful. That's a beautiful dress. Over the next decades, the family grew and changed, but one thing that didn't change was Grandma's sense of style. Just a smattering of additional outfits. Rachel Jager in a flapper dress that has been worn many times by Jackie and Susie. Wowee. Tally Chasser, mother of Grandma Ray's youngest great-grandchild, is wearing a gold copper brocade. Yeah, Tally. We heard a story recently that Grandma Matilda used to save money to buy Grandma very special dresses, and Grandma was the best dressed kid out of all of her friends, and even from a very young age, Grandma was always beautiful and elegant, and here to model beautiful and elegance are Cheryl Pardo and Susie Irani. My mom, Susie, is next, wearing one of Grandma's more demure outfits, but note that even this one has a slit that shows a little leg. Let's everyone look at my mother's leg right now. Last but not least, we have Grandma's oldest great-granddaughters wearing another beauty, Shelly Massery. Yes, Shelly. Wow-wee. And I want to have a model call. All the models get up in line and let's do one more little walk around, any order. Here we go. Absolutely everybody. Grandma, on behalf of your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, we love you, we adore you, you inspire us all. We wish you the happiest birthday. We wish you to be healthy until 120, and we wish that we could share so many of these occasions together. We love you. Happy birthday.
I've been bringing stuff from the basement. Some of the stuff I had to address, some of the clothes I had. But you had a lot of stuff in the basement. Pictures from the basement, from the house. I went through your pictures. They were very... By the way, Michelle loves that dress. Michelle must wear that dress. Can you believe that dress on Shelly? The black one with the one shoulder with the bow. I'll tell you the truth. Hi, Laurie. Hi, Laurie. I love you. Look at Rachel in your white gown, your gowns from the wedding. I know you love your clothes. I said, you probably remember where you wore it. So by the way, some of the kids are wearing the jewelry that you gave them. I'm wearing the jewelry. Karen's wearing the bracelet. Did you see Karen was wearing my gold bracelet with the green dress? Because you probably wore that.
I was so happy.
Grandma,
Don't put it too close to your
it's not
face.
on yet. One second, I have to plug it in, okay?
Don't put it too close to your face.
Work and all the effort that you put in. Really, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Also, I know it must seem hard to think of one person loving so many people, but I do. I love each and every one of you so much. So much. And I just want to thank you for being such a fantastic family. Everyone here. I mean, it's amazing how we acquired wonderful ones, and we started out with wonderful ones. So please, I don't know, just be happy and be good to your spouses and your children, and I love you all.
I'll take it. It's mine.
Take it.
It's mine.
Is it really?
Yeah. We have like a jam section.
Ready? Fantastic. Okay. 90 years young, Graham. How could it be? A life filled with love and so many memories.
Always a beauty, inside and out. You are the one they all ask about.
In this town, everyone asks, how's Grandma Ray? And then they tell a story about back in the day.
How great you are, how smart are you, how you did so much. They love you for your smile and for your special touch.
They talk about how involved you were and how you're still out and about. A leader, a friend, a trailblazer, and a role model, no doubt.
Your confidence and your wisdom, and your hugs and your kisses, your wishes and birthday cards, we know you'll never miss it.
Born in Brooklyn in 1930, in Rhode Island you were raised, to Grandma Matilda and Grandpa Jack, who would always sing your praise.
Auntie Annette and Auntie B, and then came Ray, bringing with you sunshine on any given day.
Our uncles, Sonny and Leon, and Auntie Mer rounded out the crew. These would be your friends for life and who you'd always turn to.
The third out of 6 must have made you dizzy. Moving around a lot as a child, your siblings kept you busy.
A waitress in Narragansett and summers at the pier, although there was always time for fun, you were also craving a career.
You headed to Syracuse to get your degree. Dick Daniels, among others, lots of dates and parties.
Good thing for Uncle Ralph, he set you up with Grandpa Ez, who swept you off your feet. At least that's what everyone says.
Married in 1952, in Brooklyn you were wed, and what a wonderful life you'd lead, so much blessing up ahead.
You raised 4 incredible daughters, different as can be, and each and every one of them with the most incredible qualities.
Tina was a helping hand to your 4 wonderful daughters. She was kind and loving and set them straight and made sure they followed her orders.
A new addition came along, a golden mutt named Hershey, and added so much life to the Deal House in New Jersey.
Your 4 girls met 4 boys, they're true and lifelong mates. Good thing Grandpa let the Arab take Susie on a date.
Who knew these wild men would end up your loyal sons and brothers to each other through the hard times and the fun?
You kept them all in line by threatening them with stumps, yet here they're standing tall despite all of life's humps.
Cookie surprised you both with his platform shoes and style, and Jeff stuns us all with his jokes that make us smile.
Through your clashing political views, Chucky has managed to be top pick, and when you're in need of when you need something handy done, Gary's here with the fix.
While you were on Channel 31, Grandpa sat proud in his chair, watching you do news magazines Sunday nights on the air.
Then Rayco Media was born, the queen of advertising. While juggling your work and family, your success was not surprising.
The hostess of holidays, a true matriarch, keeping our family close, you are making your mark.
As a grandma you show, each and all of us love. Our trips were a highlight, you went above, beyond and above.
We all think we're your favorite, but the truth is plain to see. The one who you love best is obviously me.
Taking us to musicals and watching us perform our own, you saw Starlight Rachel fly out of Tina's room, and even Auntie B's mind was blown.
Getting through books at lightning speed, you're always looking for something to read.
At book club when you speak, you captivate the room. Too bad now the meetings are all on Zoom.
Never a question where your political views lie. You're praying in November we'll get rid of one particular guy.
A woman for the people, you know the right way. We just wish you didn't sit and watch the news all day.
You can always count on Gary for a hot game of Scrabble. And now in jigsaw puzzles, you and Clara dabble.
Hamid and Mekshi making chicken rolls and more. Cheesecake is your specialty. It's what we all adore.
You love making your favorites and enjoying when it's ready, but your true joy is really Attilio's spaghetti.
Endless stories to tell, endless bouts of laughter, living each day to make it happily ever after.
We all look back at times with you from years ago till now, and we still can't get over you, how you do it all somehow.
You taught us also clearly that our family means the most. We know no one is really like us, though we try hard not to boast.
You and Grandpa built an empire, I know we all agree. We are truly blessed and love each other, it's crystal clear to see.
So Graham, happy 90th. We hope all your wishes come true. Love, health, and laughter. Oh, how we all love you. Uncle Gary.
I read the whole part, except we all
Okay, Ma, you'll read it later. Ma, you'll read it later. She's reading the one she just heard. I spent hours on this.
How lucky am I to be celebrating your 90th birthday with you. The 52nd time we've celebrated your birthday together. Amazing. When Bob and I started dating, you were younger than Rachel Pardo is today. We've watched each other grow for more than half a century. It's a very long time, and it's been a truly fantastic and crazy journey. From me calling you the summer of 1969 to tell you that I was switching camps and on my way to camp with the girls at Diana Dalmafar, to the fall of 1971 when I was switching colleges from Brooklyn to Buffalo so I could be closer to Bob in Syracuse. Moving to Illinois and then Connecticut, you never stopped supporting us. When I joined Dad at Sunweave, you continued to be my biggest supporter, and you've never stopped, and I'm so appreciative. You personally and professionally have accomplished so much and been such a great role model. I've always had so much admiration for your independence. You went away to Syracuse when few women in the community even went to college. And no less went to college at all. You took a break to raise your family and then went back to finish your education and get your degree. You had your own TV show and started Rayco Media, which has been so successful, still is. You raised 4 unbelievable daughters and instilled a sense of family as the most important thing. They each went out and found husbands who shared the same value. Husbands who for so many reasons grew so close or closer than brothers. The families, thank God, have so much fun spending time together. Following the lead from you and Dad, we've all raised families who are, thank God, so close, it's really beyond most people's comprehension. Thank you. I could really go on speaking about you for a very long time, but there are so many others who have things to say. I thank Hashem for having you in my life for 52 years, 46 is my mother-in-law. We have shared the best of times and the worst of times, and have always been there for each other. We used to play tennis, now play Scrabble, still enjoying each other's company. I pray that you stay healthy and we get to enjoy many more birthdays together. Happy birthday, I love you.
Okay, I have to do my poem fast. Sorry, I wrote your poem also.
What am I, chopped liver? When you need something from Grandma Ray or Mom, she will always deliver. If you dare leave her out, you'll hear, what am I, chopped liver? If touched by a moment, her voice might start to quiver. But if she's bypassed, what am I, chopped liver? She makes the best cheesecake, don't take a sliver. If you try and don't take it any at all, what am I, chopped liver? If it's cold and you need an Afghan because you're going to shiver, get one for her too. What am I, chopped liver? When making an error, when she makes a rare error, please forgive her. She loves being part of the action. What am I, chopped liver? She's definitely not a taker, much more of a giver. And for that reason, you shouldn't need to say, what am I, chopped liver? Mom, I left out any discussion of politics or Trumps, because chopped liver is one thing, but I really don't want stumps.
Awesome, Dad. Amazing.
This is going to be very difficult to follow something like that, but here we go. Mom, it's hard to imagine that I would be celebrating your 90th birthday today. To me, you've always been so young and vibrant, certainly the envy of everyone else who wasn't aging as well as you are. Our journey began 48 years ago. You were the same age as my daughter Linda is today.
48?
48 years ago.
I'm not 48.
The thought of that is incredibly hard to believe. When I first met Marilyn, she would always talk about you with such admiration. I couldn't wait to get to know you. But every time I would come to the house to pick her up, you were nowhere to be found. I started to feel as though you didn't approve of our relationship. Not that I could blame you one bit, but I really didn't have much going for me at that time. When I questioned you later and asked you, how could you let your gorgeous little girl go out with a guy like me? And you replied, I know how much you love each other, and that's more important than anything else. Which blew my mind, and I said, it still does. Well, when we finally did get to know each other, I understood why Marilyn was so proud of her mom. You weren't like most moms. You were cool, you were very smart, and full of energy, and I was in awe of you. Everything you did was to perfection. Every wedding you made, every celebration you made was flawless. You really put everything into everything you did. Then came the real test. When I was invited for dinner the first time, I was sure you couldn't be as good a cook as my mom, but boy did you prove me wrong. You were and still the most amazing cook ever. I don't think you ever made anything that I didn't love. Mom, when I considered you I never considered you my mother-in-law. You were and still are my mother. We trusted your judgment, and every decision that Marilyn and I made was based on what you felt, what you guided us. You clearly made our life so much easier. Looking back at our lives, is how we see our accomplishments. For you, there are so many, too numerous to mention, but it is clear that your biggest accomplishment is your family. Look around. This is your legacy. And what a legacy it is. You raised 4 amazing daughters, each one so very special, and each daughter raised their families with all that they've learned from you. It doesn't stop there, because their kids did the same, and I'm sure that for generations to follow, we will still have the same qualities that you have instilled in all of us. We are truly blessed and very thankful for the family we are so lucky to be part of. Mom, I want to thank you for so many things you did for us, but mostly, I want to thank you for setting the example of how we should live our lives. I know personally, I would never be the person I am if not for the influence you had on me. One last thing, Mom. I don't know if I really ever thank you for giving me the best gift. I knew I was going to have a problem with this one. The best gift any man could have ever asked for. You gave me your precious Marilyn. It's really something to be in love with someone for your entire life together, and even beyond that. I really need you to know that I never stopped loving Marilyn, even to this very day. I still consider myself the luckiest man alive to have had her in my life. Okay, now I'm better. Mom, I just want to wish you the happiest birthday, and may we celebrate many, many more birthdays together in good health. I love you. Your son, Cookie.
I tried to hold it together.
I feel at home on the stage.
Yeah, you do.
I'm going to take it all in for a minute, if you don't mind. Then I'm going to talk about you. Okay. I'm going to read slow because mine's short. Doesn't mean I don't love you. I love you a lot, but some big things come in small packages.
That's what they all say.
That's what she said. Okay. 90 years equals 47,304,000 minutes. That's a lot of minutes. And my mother-in-law, Ray Cohen, lived in them all. There are the obvious things to point out about most people, Ray Cohen included. In her case, how she sends birthday cards that start off roses are red, violets are blue, and if you're a lucky one, you'll get a check to boot. But is that the real Ray? How she coined some phrases and made them hers. What am I, chopped liver? Watch it or you get stumps. Is that the real Ray? Or is it a cheesecake that defines who she is? Or maybe it's a meshy tomato which tells you a lot about her. Or maybe it's the way she devours books like she was eating her own cheesecake. Or maybe you thought it was her love for Attilio's Pizza. Is it a political party affiliation that tells you who she is? I think all of these things make up her kaleidoscope called life. They're a part of her, but not one of those things define her. Not one of those things gives her purpose and meaning without the most important thing in her life, her family. Her family, above all else, defines who Ray Cohen is. She lives, breathes, worries, dotes, cares, loves for her number one goal in her life, her family. She's a very accomplished woman, way ahead of her time. Did things that other women could only dream of. But her greatest accomplishment, at least in my eyes, is the family that she built. The family that Ray Cohen built and nurtured and maintained for all these years. Without a dedicated and loving matriarch, none of us would be here today. So we are here today to give you honor and respect for doing the greatest thing in the world, keeping us all together. And add this one to your many phrases. We are family. So thank you, Mom, for all you do. We love you and cherish you. Happy 304,000 minutes. We love you.
Okay, this was incredible. We have to thank Susie, Barbara, Jackie, and everybody else for this incredible job, incredible food, and of course, incredible guest of honor. So, Barbara, who you saw earlier today, ties in perfectly with my beginning of my story, and I'm going to preface it as quickly as I can. I met my wife in the summer of '79. On our 3rd, 5th, 7th, I don't know what date, Saturday night, Sunday morning, dropped her off, daylight catches us up. Daylight catches us up. Who's standing in the exact outfit that Auntie Barbara was walking in, with the curlers in the hair and the robe, with her hands on her fists like this, on her folded? Grandma Ray. I tell Susie, should I get out and talk to your mother? She grabbed me and she goes, goodbye. Thank you. See you later. That was the start of a wonderful relationship that we've had through many, 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 many years, through fantastic times. Coming to pick up my wife on a date in Brooklyn. I would come to the house after work. I work on Kings Highway, 7 o'clock I leave. I get home to pick up Susie at 1080 East 7th Street. I get there. Where are they? Oh, huddled in front of the TV. What are they watching? Ray Cohen doing her own news show on Channel 31, no commercials, no anchor, all by herself, doing a 30-minute live program. By the way, we have it on VCR inside. If you want to watch, there's a few snippets of Grandma Ray in the prime, doing TV show, doing news stories, 30 minutes straight, no commercials, no help. We have lived together every single summer, mostly here, but not only. We had one wonderful summer at the pool house. It was a great summer, but then we lost your dad, Grandpa Jack, at the end of that summer, so it started off great, ended a little hard, but we had wonderful summers there. We had fantastic summers on the lake, and through it all, every time, my mother-in-law and my father-in-law were there for not just us, not just our children, but everybody here, all the extended family. It didn't matter where they were, it didn't matter what they were doing, it didn't matter what position they were in. If they were needed, they were there. If they were needed to fill in so somebody could go on vacation, they were there. They were always there. Mom, you were always there for all of us, every single one of us. And you should know, and I think you know from everybody here, how incredibly it's appreciated. We've had a million conversations about politics. When your sister Annette, may she rest in peace, was here, I had a tremendous ally in the house. She was crazier than me and Jeff put together with her conservativeness. But through it all, through everything, we've always had civil discourse. Things are a little different now. You know, there's too much of one and there's too much of the other, so we're not going to go there. But the important thing is that nothing mattered except for the fact that we were family and that we loved each other. And I will say one thing. Being the most opinionated person in the world that you are, by far, there's not a person alive that doesn't know you to have a strong opinion about everything. I can say, as a mother-in-law, not once, and I've lived with you every single summer for 39 years, not once did you ever get involved in any conversation, dispute, disagreement that I've had with my wife. I'd like to say I appreciate that, but there were times where I was so right that you could have stuck up for me, but you didn't. But it's okay, because your children could do no wrong, and you have transmitted that to them, and to them, their children could do no wrong. And it's an absolute beautiful quality. I will end by saying the following to me. Like all your son-in-law said, you were much more than a mother-in-law, you were a mother to us. And just a few months ago, we were talking at a dinner table, and I said, yeah, I know you love me, but if I was a Democrat, I'm sure you would love me more. And you just looked at me. Do you remember what you said? You said to me, I couldn't love you any more than I do. Aww. And I know it, and I feel the same. Happy birthday. Love you. Careful, you can't step in there. It's electric, man.
Hi, Graham. Over the years, anytime I've mentioned you to one of my friends, the response was always one of amazement. Your grandma graduated from college. Your grandma owns her own advertising agency. Your grandma still plays tennis. To the world, you are Ray Cohen, trailblazing community leader, television news magazine star, advertising executive, progressive thinker, tennis player, thoughtful book club participant, and truly an amazing woman, always ahead of the curve. But to 14 lucky grandchildren, and now, thank God, to a new generation of lucky great-grandchildren, you are and will always be simply Grandma Ray. Grandma Ray, whose Shabbat and holiday dinners have brought us together on so many occasions, with mouths full of sambusak, tomato mekchi, and too many chicken balls to count, we have debated, laughed, sung, celebrated, and made countless memories. Grandma Ray, whose home has always been our family's happy place. In Brooklyn, where we sat as children in a circle with our Hanukkah presents piled high, and trotted around the basement, and performed our own Broadway musicals to an enthusiastic audience. And in Deal, where we once made a home for Peter Rabbit, where we play tennis each summer, and where we bring our children to play on the swings. Grandma Ray, who sings the Watermelon Song, and I Love You, a Bushel and a Peck, among other family favorites, and taught us how to play Steal the Old Man's Pack, and Basra, when we could handle the scoring. Grandma Ray, who took us to Broadway shows and on special trips, and who traveled the world with Grandpa Ezra and told us all about their adventures. Grandma Ray, whose face always lights up when you enter the room, and who calls each one of us Lovey, and really means it. Grandma, you and Grandpa raised 4 beautiful, independent daughters and instilled in them the values of education, religion, speaking one's mind, and above all else, as everyone else has said, family. The closeness of our family and the fierceness of our love for one another is a credit to you both, and the love that you have poured into your children and grandchildren over the years. On the occasion of your 90th birthday, I want to thank you for everything you have done for our family. You are a true matriarch and a genuine role model for all of us. And I feel so lucky to continue to learn from you each time I visit. I hope to accomplish in my life as much as you have in your life so far, and to do it with as much elegance, grace, and joy as you have. Wishing you the happiest of birthdays and many more opportunities to say, what am I, chopped liver? Even though you know you are not nor could ever be chopped liver.
Roses are red, violets are blue. It is an honor to be named after someone as remarkable as you. Dear Grandma, to say I carry your name with pride is an understatement. As a woman and as a mother, you are truly a role model to me in every way. There are not many people from my generation, and especially not our community, that can say that their grandmother went away to college, was an anchor on a news magazine show, was involved in many community organizations, and was an entrepreneur who started her own advertising agency, all while being the matriarch of this incredible family and prioritizing us above all else. You and Grandpa raised 4 unique, confident, amazing daughters who chose 4 perfect counterparts, which gave way to 39 unique, confident, and amazing grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We are all products of you. Your ethical code, ambition, love of learning, and love of family have been passed down to each and every one of us. Not only have you been the architect of this family, but also of so many of my favorite childhood memories. There was nothing I looked forward to more than going to your house on Friday night dinner. All of us squeezed into your den, eating eggplant salad on Tam Tam crackers, while the men sipped Rolling Rock beer. Somehow, the dining room table and walls seemed to expand to fit everyone. Your table was always a place to share ideas, never gossip. And even as a young girl, I soaked it up. You were always the most hands-on and fun grandmother. Whether you were reading us stories, taking us for strolls through the neighborhood to admire the flowers, watching Scruffy the tugboat cuddled under Grandma Matilda's blanket, playing Spite and Malice and Steal the Old Man's Pack, and taking us to every Broadway show in production. And of course, there was always our unforgettable trip to Rhode Island and New Hampshire. There was also the time we lived by you. I'm sure it wasn't easy for you sharing your one bathroom and one TV with us, but you never let it show. I loved waking up every morning and having breakfast with you and Grandpa, cut grapefruit, an English muffin with cream cheese, and a bowl of Cheerios, while Tina stood over me, telling me to eat comer. I don't know where the time has gone, but at 90 years, you are still the coolest grandma around. I can't tell you how many of my friends tell me how inspired they are by you, and how you are the smartest and most eloquent woman at book club. I can't help but brag about you and light up with pride that you are mine. I know it is the same feeling of pride that my mom had whenever she would talk about you. Grandma, on this your 90th birthday, you should be so incredibly proud of all that you have accomplished and the amazing person that you are. I know that we all are. I love you so much. Thank you for simply being you.
Rachel.
Okay, there's going to be some common themes here, not only that we have the same name. Grandma, I know using roses are red is as predictable as it gets in a toast to you on your 90th birthday, but I can't help myself. Great minds. Roses are red, violets are blue, I can't help wanting to be just like you. It's true, growing up I always wanted to be like you, Grandma. I am your namesake after all. My email address was even RayRay104. And I would brag about how much I loved caramel and loathed coconut. As I've gotten older though, I've realized that being like you entails so much more than a few food preferences. Especially since I now enjoy coconut on occasion, please don't be upset. Being like you means breaking boundaries. Being like you means never being afraid to speak your mind. Being like you means embodying your culture, heritage, and values, while also keeping true to yourself. Being like you means balancing your role as a wife and mother with your professional goals and aspirations. Being like you means taking each grandchild on a memorable trip. Being like you means never turning down an opportunity to bring a cheesecake. Being like you means having every fraternity president at Syracuse University ask you out. Being like you means never letting a birthday go by without sending a card. Being like you means always winning in Scrabble or gin rummy. Being like you means cooking the best tomato mahshi in town. Grandma, being like you is something I strive for every single day. Even as you approach 90 years old, I'm in awe of the person you are. The glamour, the wisdom, the compassion, and the confidence you wield. Oh, I forgot my blazer. A few years ago, you gave me a green plaid blazer that I wore tonight. Fitted with shoulder pads, of course, in true Ray Cohen style. It's chic and it's vintage, but my favorite part about it is that when I put it on, it reminds me of you. The role model of role models, the grandma of grandmas, the Rachel of Rachels. Happy birthday, Grandma.
To Grandma Ray, mother, grandmother, matriarch, twice collegiate, TV personality, entrepreneur, lover of crossword puzzles, word games, and flowering plants, woman ahead of her time, but somehow always of the moment. It's true that I did not know you until more than halfway through your life. I did not know the baby girl born third to immigrant parents the year after the stock market crash of 1929. I did not know the child who worked at the general store and relaxed on the beach in Narragansett, and whose band of siblings had to negotiate being the only of their kind year after year. I did not know the teenager who took herself to Syracuse and joined sorority life. It seems mostly for the food. I did not know the young lady who fell for a World War II veteran and moved herself to Brooklyn, half a day's drive from her parents. I did not know the woman who raised 4 young daughters to respect themselves, who hosted study sessions with Brooklyn college students, and who seemed to stir up good trouble at youth groups and synagogues without even trying. By the time I came around, we were pretending to be horses in your wood-paneled basement in Brooklyn, or playing tennis in the backyard in Oakhurst, or hanging out under your desk at Caesar's Bay Bazaar. You were pointing out flowers and fruit trees on walks around Deal Lake. I watched you interact with people when we were out in the city or on vacation, marveling at your ability to be both open and open-minded with these strangers. And I was proud of how everyone that you met, even for just a few minutes, seemed to love you. You have a profound trust in yourself and in the world, which I will always admire. And while roses are not always red and violets are usually purple, one thing is for certain. Your unshakable spirit and steady sense of self has been the tree trunk from which we are all able to flourish. To celebrate you is to celebrate all of us. With all my love and gratitude, happy birthday.